Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. That's my email address. If you'd like to reach out with your questions about the pricing of this or any Watchbox watch, reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a landmark piece for de Bethune, a watch that includes an early application of their future signature floating lugs, as well as their first use of sapphire hands. This is the new for 2008 Bethune DB26 Perpetual calendar, a combination of white gold case and grade 5 titanium floating lugs. It is 44.4 millimeters in diameter, surprisingly thin at 12.7 millimeters thick. 52.5 millimeters lug-to-lug if the lugs are compressed, and 57.5 millimeters when they are fully extended. The spacing between the lugs is 26 millimeters. At first glance, the watch actually appears to be upside down. That's not the case. The crown is at 6 o'clock, and on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see it wears well. It's only about half a millimeter thicker than a Daytona, so it will slide underneath a dress cuff or a tight sleeve. It's not excessively broad across the wrist, though this is the larger of the two traditional de Bethune lug sizes. They now have an intermediate. Back in the day, this would have been large. So I can recommend the watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference on these lugs. You can see from over the top, the case itself comes nowhere near the edge of my wrist. The cuff shot easily sliding underneath the sleeve. Let's take a look at the hardware and the software. You can see that the software includes medium rectangular scale alligator leather and a sort of cobalt blue with a monotone stitch, a sheer cut side showing the layers of leather. This is a de Bethune factory strap. Note that it's tapered with round scale alligator on the bottom. So gator on top, gator on the bottom. When you replace calfskin on the bottom with gator, you create a more durable, more expensive, and longer lasting strap. This watch is worth the price premium. The buckle is grade 5 titanium like the lugs, and it has a sort of evacuated profile the way the lugs do, branded on the bottom. Rolling back to the case, you can see that evacuated profile as these lugs are open, prismatic, gossamer, and graceful with these torpedo-shaped ogival caps on their end. That's the last styling vestige of the first de Bethune product, the DB1 chronograph of 2002. You'll note that the lugs do have a wonderful beguiling action to them. They are fun to play with. The crown, which you can see is ornate, knurled, and drilled, is down at 6 o'clock. It is a manual wind watch. Taking a quick look at the timepiece, top side, just look at how thin it really is. Again, not a thick watch. It's cylindrical, which makes it look sheer and blocky, but it isn't. All the cases of high polish, with the exception of the bezel, which is satinated on its top, and then we have a dial that is silver opaline white, de Bethune making its own cases, dials, and movements in-house. This watch is all de Bethune. We have blued individual titanium cabochon, and they have a patent for the process of fire bluing titanium. So you have those for the hours. You also have a track outboard for reading the minutes. The sapphire hands feature blue borders, and then there is a fired blue titanium background framing the moon phase, which is spherical. You can see it has height above the dial. It's 1/2 white palladium and 1/2 blued steel. We have a perpetual calendar system, so obviously able to cope with leap years and irregular length months. And on the back of the watch, we have the caliber DB2005, which is based on their first in-house caliber. As you can see, twin mainspring barrels, self-adjusting, a manual wind 5-day power reserve. We have a full balance bridge with 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs. This is their patented triple parachute shock protection system. So let's talk about the patents that you see here. We have the twin self-adjusting barrels. We have this process for fire bluing the titanium of the balance. We have the balance itself, which you can see is a yoke that is made of titanium with platinum masses outboard. It's not a wheel, it's a yoke. We have a patent for this triple parachute shock protection system, which is designed to make it more resistant to shock, yes, but also to more rapidly recenter the balance staff to improve timing when the watch is unsettled by shock or concussion. And then we have this 2-element hand-shaped hairspring, 2 elements clamped together to create the concentric breathing of an overcoil, so it keeps the same time in any position, but then it also has the thin profile of a flat hairspring and the shock resistance of a flat hairspring. We have Cote de Bethune, and if you look carefully, you can see that the barrel bridge is actually 2 different pieces, and the wheel that creates these waves, it's actually reversed for each side. So on each side, you can see the darker face of the wave is facing outward, and the lighter face is facing inward. Frosted base plate, as you can see, black polish for the balance bridge, as well as the screw head, satination on the wheels, as well as the barrels, and then we have mile-wide mirrored traditional anglage on the edge of the barrel bridge, as well as on the edge of the otherwise satinated steel springs for the shock protection system. All of this beating away at 28,800 vibrations per hour with a moon phase and a perpetual calendar. 30 meters water resistant, so don't take it swimming, but in every other regard, it is a fairly sporty dress complication. De Bethune has made fewer than 2,900 watches in its history and makes about 150 a year, so both this year and historically, exclusivity is guaranteed. And I think this is the next big thing in independent horology. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.